Hey, everybody, welcome back to another podcast. As you can see, I'm dressed in the vacation attire. I took last week off, and poor Nelson was left, sad and waiting for me. He was like, "Are we going to do the podcast?" So I was like, "Oh, I'm on vacation." So, yeah, my bad. But we're back this week. We're going to make sure we get this one out on time. And, yeah. How was your week, though, Nelson?
It's been a minute. I'll just say that. My week so far, I guess, has been all right. It's been okay.
That's good.
I got off work today, of course. That was okay, I suppose. There was some people that are just not pleasant
Yeah.
to deal with. But
Customers or coworkers or what or both.
so my coworkers, both of them are gone. They've been gone for since last week.
Mm.
So I've had, pretty much just a decent amount of time to myself at the shop. And it's been nice. There are some customers here and there. It gets a little bit busy and then afterwards it dies off. But there are times where you get customers that think you know everything when you need like the most basic information in order to figure out exactly what it is that they need.
Yeah.
You go
We're
into an
not
auto zone.
telepathic, is what you're saying.
Pretty much. Like you go into an auto zone looking for, because we had to do this, of course. For my mom's, for my grandmother's truck, her signal light it stopped working and it was flashing really fast when you turned the blinker on.
Yeah.
But we had to go to AutoZone, and of course you have to be prepared in order for them to give you what you need in order to fix it. You can't just walk in there and say, "Oh, I need a new blinker light for my truck."
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to specify which truck, what model, what
Yeah,
year, that sort of thing.
yeah, exactly. That like I have no idea why it for some reason when you go into an AutoZone or an O'Reilly or wherever, that's what you have to do. That's what they require so that way they can get you the right part.
Yep.
But for some reason, that doesn't translate over to the shop. And it makes it a little tedious and kind of frustrating because you're the one that has to ask all the questions and it's annoying.
Yeah.
It's just, it whenever it's basically in a nutshell, if you repeat everything I say, this conversation is going to take twice as long. That's basically what it is. And most of my interactions are like that. And
Yeah.
I mean, these are both it's primarily a lot of the landscapers here for where we live, of course. It's mostly people from the, you know, a Mexican background, of course, and I guess that makes sense to some extent. I'm not trying to be stereotypical or racist, but that's just how it is. For the area that we live in, a lot of the landscapers, they're good people. They are. I'll say that, but oh my goodness, they are very persistent when it comes to a lot of things, but and it can be a little bit frustrating. And people like you and I guess we can also be equally as frustrating because it's not hard to walk in with some of the most basic knowledge. Oh, I need a primer bulb for what exactly? For my hedge trimmer.
Yeah.
What hedge trimmer? Is it steel or echo? Steel.
Yeah.
What is the model of the steel? Is it a HS 60, 55? Uh, Here, let me show you. Let me show you.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like this one. Okay. All right. If you say it looks like that one, I'll go get you the primer bulb that looks exactly like that one.
Mm-hmm.
I go in the back, I grab one, I show it to the guy, and I match it up with that one that he showed me. And then he's off on his merry way. And then he comes back 2 hours later saying I sold him the wrong primer bulb.
Yeah.
And then he gets mad at me.
Yeah.
And then I think to myself, okay, well, it's your fault because you didn't even bother actually listening to me and showing you. I walked you through the whole process. I helped you out step by step, and then you come back and you're mad at me, expecting like it's my fault when it's not. It's frustrating. It
Yeah.
just is. But I mean, that's what most of my interactions have been this past week. And then on top of that, what was it? Today at least. I guess you could say I'm ranting a little bit, but uh, there was a guy that works for one of these landscaping companies, and he told me that he needed a recoil starter for his backpack blower. So I went to the back, I looked, I checked the system. It said we had a couple in stock. I went to that location, I organized it, so
Mm-hmm.
therefore it should be there. It should be, but it's not.
Yeah.
So whatever happened, happened. And I told the guy, I said, I don't have any in stock, but I can order it for you. And then he wasn't happy with me. And it's like, dude, I can't do anything. I can't just cough up a recoil starter for you out of my body.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. And then he's like, "Oh, can you just put one together and then take off the recoil starter?" No, I can't do that because then I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
Like a lot of I I know it makes the business a lot of money, but the problem with the landscapers and with like that system that I work at,
Mm-hmm.
they treat it like a drive-through, and it's the worst possible experience. I unimaginable.
Yeah.
And I told my bosses this, they're aware of it, and they didn't take any offense to it. They know it's been a problem like this for such a long time, ever since it's been created, because it's that instant gratification that they expect. And if they don't get it, they're gonna fight to the ends of the earth. And I can't do anything about it. And they also demand me to give them discounts for products that either look old, I guess, or have come out like over 10 plus years ago, and I can't. That's not up to me. That's
Mm-hmm.
up to many of the corporations that we work with because we're a dealer.
Yeah.
It's just, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
But I was about to, I almost lost my marbles today, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was one of the few days that I guess wasn't as bad as the last few weeks before Christmas because I will say that was terrible. I was on a spree. It was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it was really bad because my coworkers would constantly, every single moment that they could, just bombard me like task after task after task. And it was just basically pushing me to overtime essentially to where I had to take lunch at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, 3:30, so hours before we close. And then they act all surprised. "Oh, you just took lunch?" Like, "Yeah, dude." Like it takes one, it's not surprising. It really isn't. But um I know I'm going on a long rant, and we're what, 8 minutes in already? I've been yapping this whole entire time at this rate, but that's just in a nutshell exactly what it's like. So I won't keep talking about it, but
Well, they
it
say everybody should work in retail to know what it's like, and you can definitely tell when somebody hasn't worked in retail because they often don't treat the workers very nicely.
well, I like to go with the rule of, treat others the way that you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes degrading when you get cussed out in Spanish for like the 20th time
Yeah.
because, oh, I sold the guy a wrong spark plug or the wrong primer bulb.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but you didn't give me anything to work with. The
Right.
only thing you told me is, oh, it has a Kohler engine on it. Okay, well, for the most part, Kohler engines, they use this spark plug and this brand and this size, and let's just go with that. And I asked the guy and I said, does this look correct? Oh, yeah, that looks correct. And then he's off on his merry way. Then he comes back 2 hours later, all mad and everything.
Yeah. What
And
percentage of customers would you say have that sort of problem where they don't know the part number or whatever, and they come to you and they ask you for to give them something like that?
it's more than, I want to say, at least like 85%.
Okay.
Not even 85, 90 at the most.
Yeah.
They don't
So,
even
do
they
you
don't
think
even
there's a
give
solution to it besides them just, doing research before they come to the store?
the simple solution that would make every single technician's life easier and less frustrating and them able to actually get you what you want is by just having a model number and, even better, a serial number.
Yeah.
That model number is a saving grace because that thing is basically your Bible in the technician's world. It gives you everything that you need to know, like what part, what component, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And oh, it looks like that mower. Okay, I can't guarantee it, but then I'm gonna have to disclose, all right, if worst comes to worst, bring back the receipt.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
And next thing you know it, they bring it back and they don't have the receipt, and then I gotta go on a tedious fetch quest to find the original sale. And it's frustrating, but
Do you
and then I
think
get blamed
do
for
you
it.
think you'd benefit from like a manual with pictures of the products that you support in it, or maybe just a sign that says, "Hey, when you come to our workers, please provide a serial number or part number." Do you think that the shop would benefit from that at all?
Well, the thing is, whenever we do sales and everything like that, I always tell people hold on to the warranty slips. They're important. They
Mm-hmm.
provide vital information, and it's the key. Hold always document it. It's important. And I tell people that every single time we make a sale. I tell them, you need to have this with you just in case if anything happens to it. It's important because then we'd be able to cover the warranty, and on top of that, we'd be able to actually fix it and get the right part
Yeah.
instead of you just telling me, "Oh, uh, it's it's got a Briggs and Stratton engine on it and it's got 23 cc's on it."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that doesn't tell me anything. That's just the specs of the engine. That's nothing. I don't
Yeah.
even think it's 23 cc's. I think I said that wrong, but or 23 horsepower. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just underwhelming. And I mean, for now at least, I'm doing there is a new method of me doing sales now at this point. It's terrifying, but I mean it's a learning curve because you have to accommodate to that person's social status whenever they're asking for a loan to buy a mower or a push mower. So
Yeah.
I'm doing on this website, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get in trouble, but you have to fill out a form, you have to ask them their name, who, if they have a spouse, if they're married,
Yeah.
if what their closest relative is, social security number, and then what's your credit score, stuff along those lines, of course. And then you send it out, you wait 15 minutes to get a call back, and they give you like the here are your options for in terms of interest for
Right.
paying and everything for the loan. It's terrifying stuff for me at least because it's something brand new and I don't want to screw anything up, and I already made one mistake, but they already expected that. I didn't include the taxes for the total cost, so
Yeah.
it's not good. But I mean, that stuff takes a while because you have to wait for them to call back, and there are times where they may be a little bit busy, and there are other times where they're not so busy. But I mean, truth be told, I'd rather do that than deal with customers that are like, "Oh, I need a primer bulb. You sold me the wrong primer bulb." But it's
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I mean, I always tell I know there should be a sign, either a sign or something. It should just be common knowledge. You shouldn't have to walk in, ask for, "Oh, I need this for my hedge trimmer. Do you have it?" You're not going to get an answer or anything, like a clear answer. And I don't know why people expect that,
Yeah.
but
Um, maybe you should have like a script ready. Like the person approaches you and you say, "Okay, is there any way you can get a part number or a serial number?" And if you can't, uh, we're gonna have to kind of guess and check, right? Because if
well,
I don't know that part number or serial number, I can't guarantee that what I'm providing you is the correct part, and you may have to bring it back,
I
like
well,
that sort of thing. But I would think like you ought to go to your bosses and say, hey, we should have a sign up somewhere that says, please provide a serial number or a part number to our technicians or something if you want a
it,
part.
there people will not go to that length. They are too lazy to do that.
Yeah.
Let alone they're somehow they build up the what is it? The motivation to actually get in their car and drive all the way out to the shop, let alone they don't even bother bringing the actual equipment with them for us to take a look at it and see, "Oh, okay, that's what you need. Let me go get it for you."
Yeah.
No, they don't do that. They don't take any photos. They don't do anything like that. No. And then I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, well, what am I supposed to do then?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do for you then. If you don't there was a guy that what is it called? Those pruners, I guess.
Loppers
To
or whatever, shears.
shears, loppers, shears, those big ones.
Yeah.
He came into the shop 30 minutes before we closed, and I told him, I said, "What do you need?" And he said, "Oh, I need this part." What's it to? Is it Echo Steel? It's for my loppers. Okay, we don't sell those parts back here. Those are going to be found up in the store.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I bought it from you guys. No, I know you bought it from us, but that stuff is going to be up in the store. We don't sell that type of stuff back here. And then he goes on this fetch quest or something, and then he starts cussing me out to this other Mexican guy, and because another guy came back and he told me I got him the wrong spark plug, and I'm thinking to myself, and then here's the thing, they had the gall, both of them. They had the gall to say in front of me, "Are you sure? Are you sure that's it?" Yeah, I'm sure it is because if you look and read, they both match up. Oh, okay. And then they start cussing me out again in Spanish and then they leave. But that's the type of environment that I deal with almost daily. And I don't have a problem with it because I'm just used to it at this point, and maybe it's caused me to be a much more sour person, if you will. I'm less lenient and I'm less compassionate and less likely to help people when it comes to that type of stuff. And my bosses know it. They know it. They're aware that that a lot of those types of people just wreak havoc and they expect everything in at the snap of their fingers. It's frustrating. But
Yeah.
I mean, what I do know, and my bosses, of course, know, I'm not going to be there forever. I don't know how long I'm going to stay. My initial plan was just for the year, just for this year, and then move on. But honestly, I'm thinking about probably leaving in June, I think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave. I think I'm gonna do that, and I'm just gonna go straight to doing plumber's trainee. I'm gonna apply for a plumber's trainee position at a certain plumbing company.
Now
They
I
make
forget. Did you was last semester your final semester in
it was.
school? Okay.
I'm done. I'm
So
done with school. I'm done.
okay.
I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not going to college. I'm not. I know. I'm a disappointment,
So are
but
you going to graduate with your degree
yes,
in
that's
the
gonna be.
summertime?
It'll be in 2024. It'll or no, sorry, 2025.
Yeah.
Spring of 2025. That's when
Yeah.
I'll graduate. But
Okay. Do you have to
because
apply
there
for
was
something like that or
I think I do. I need to talk to a counselor. I probably will.
yeah.
But
Well, that's good that you're getting that done and moving on.
I know. Well, the thing is, look, I talked to my mom about it. I talked to my girlfriend about it, and of course I've talked to you about it. it is not for me.
Yeah.
That whole
Well, it's
college,
not for everyone, and I think that's what people should take away. But part of it is you tried it, and now you know that it's not for you, right?
it's not working. Look, I got good grades. Matter of fact, I got better grades than I did throughout my whole entire 4 years throughout high school.
Yeah.
I got A's and B's throughout my whole 3 years there,
Yeah.
and I turned out just fine. But I was left with basically nothing in return. I would say that's just me.
Yeah.
I mean, I had fun with the engines class. I got to experiment. I got to explore a little bit, and then I thought, well, I do enjoy the engines work, but it's just with this current setup that I'm at for given it's my first job,
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it. So, and then I went to plumbing and I looked at it and I'm thinking, yeah, I want to do that. Forget that. Because my mom, she told me that um, because when our clogs, goodness, when our pipes were clogged, she
Mm-hmm.
called out a company and she told me, "Oh, they're going to make $600 within the hour." And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, "Oh my gosh."
That's insane.
And then I went on to Indeed.com and I looked at this company that I'm applying for because they're here where we're located. They have a trainee position and you can basically when you're done with the trainee stuff, it's full time by the way. You can, you know, apply for a plumber's position after you take the test and everything. So, and then basically it goes from like earnings goes from I think 50 starting at 55,000 and you could basically work all the way up to masters and above masters. It's like 2 to 400,000 dollars
Holy
a
cow.
year. A year. Like
Wow.
doctor salaries, more than what doctors make.
Huh.
And I'm thinking, what?
Yeah. That's pretty insane. We do
It was
have
on Indeed.
we do have a surprising lack of tradesmen in our area. There's always a need for air conditioning repairmen and heater repairmen and plumbers and electricians. I don't think we found our family is really in the business of renovating homes, because we kind of have properties that we deal with,
Yeah,
and
that makes sense. So you want to
yeah,
continue that, of course,
we
because
have
it's a good
not, as
money.
far as I know, we have not found a proper electrician, that's able to do solid work. We've been referred to a few people, but none of them have ever done a good job.
I
So
thought about doing I thought about doing what's it called
electrician,
for
being an electrician.
yeah, yeah, being an electrician, I thought about it and I looked at their what their earnings were and what that style of work is like and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm gonna do what the plumbers are doing because clearly that's where
Yeah, it's probably
I
a
think
little less dangerous too.
well, the thing is also a lot of plumbers do enjoy their work, which is kind of funny because when you think of a plumber, it's kind of, oh, you gotta drain the poop from the pipe and that's about it. But I don't
Yeah.
know because
uh,
well, the thing is they were in this very room because it got clogged all the way into the back of my bathroom and everything and I'm thinking, "Oh,
yeah,
crap." But it
literally.
was pretty much, but
Oh
I
man.
mean, I was talking to my mom about it and I showed her because we were what was it? We were looking at I asked her about how do interest rates work because it was in relation to what I was learning at my work. And she basically just showed me the maths and she showed me, okay, let's do this in the most simplistic way possible. Pretend that you are buying a house, all right? And you need to do a 30-year mortgage, of
Mm-hmm.
course, which is probably the best way of handling it.
I forget. Is your mom an accountant?
She is.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Just
So
double checking.
this is like her this is basically
Her wheelhouse.
yeah, pretty much. So she knows every little detail about it. And she showed me exactly. So if you were to buy this 750, take out a loan for the $750,000 home, of course, you have a good credit score, and you have a good paying job, of course, for 30 years at this interest rate, you'll get the house paid off by this year, by this day. But if you have dispensable income, like let's say, for example, $1,100, and that goes to the principal pay,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to pay off the house in like 20 years, pretty much. So it makes sense. And
Yeah.
it kind of translates over to car loans. Now, I would say car loans are worse because the second you drive them off the lot, they lose like $5,000 in value. But
Right. And you
um,
can be upside down on a car loan very easily.
you can, yeah. And I mean, I'm not going to fall for that trap. I always like to think, okay, if I can't afford a car, then I'm not even, there's no point of taking out a loan for it
Yeah.
because I don't want to be trapped for the
Don't
next
buy it if
five
you
years.
can't afford it.
Well, yeah. I think taking out a loan for a mortgage on a
Yes.
house, I think
You
that's
basically
fine.
have to. There's not much you can do to avoid that. It's a
It's
matter of
unfortunate.
how many years you go for and how much interest you end up paying. Like if you put a solid down payment on your house, you save up a bunch of money and then you pay that right away and then you start paying the mortgage. That's good. And also I've been told never take a 30-year loan on a home because if you need a 30-year loan, you cannot afford that house. And then it basically you end up paying so much interest that it's almost completely not worth it. And
Well, yeah,
yeah,
I suppose, but I I understand that, but a lot of people can't afford a doing a 15-year mortgage either.
yeah. Well, I would say,
So what
especially
would
so
you
we
put
live in
out?
California. It's like one of the most expensive
It
places to
is.
own a home. Um, what you do is you live in an apartment, something cheap, and you save up the money, as much money as possible. You put that towards the down payment
Well,
of a
that was my other point
yeah.
because that's what my brain was
You
thinking. I
have to
was
start
thinking
out in a small home though too.
if I
You can't
have
go straight to the top.
yeah, if I have 30%, I think it's 30% is usually around the recommendation for 30% of the total cost of the house. If you can afford 30% of the total cost, use that 30% as down payment.
That would be really
The
solid
rest,
down payment. Yeah.
that's what I think was the best case scenario.
Yeah,
If
that's probably pretty close to best case scenario. I
well, you
doubt
won't
most people can afford something like that, especially in California, but
okay, because what is the current interest rate what is the current?
I think it varies.
It does vary.
Um,
So
one other thing
30,
that I learned though was that if you want to pay the home off faster, so when you take out a mortgage, you're going to be paying money in the first however many years, 2 or 3 years, maybe up to 10 or 15 years. You're going to be paying just the interest on the house. So you're not actually paying for the house itself until after you pay off that interest. That's what I understand. Um, so what you can do is you can pay off the mortgage every month, and you can pay that interest, but you can also set more money aside and dedicate it directly to the principal of the home, which is the actual that money is actually going to the home. So that helps you
hmm
pay off the home a lot faster, and I think it also decreases the interest that you're paying because you
it
actually have
does.
some principal in the
It
home.
does. I'm trying to find the right calculator my mom showed me, but this was kind of like one of them essentially. So, I mean, $225,000 down payment. I don't have $225,000 lying around, but it
For
would be
what?
for for doing a 30-year mortgage
Oh
on a
yeah, but you're
house.
not going to buy a $750,000 house right off the bat.
No,
Yeah.
but if
I
I would,
Yeah, I imagine you would start under 400,000 for a house in California.
Here it is. This is the one that my mom showed me. So home price, because we were looking at houses up in Oregon, because some of them are actually nice. So if we did a loan term for 30 years and the interest rate is at 6.8% right now, I
Home
think that's what
price.
it was.
What did you put in for the home price?
$750,000, not 75. Good grief.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, we'll
Honestly,
do a 20.
I think I
Do a
think what Dave
20,
Ramsey recommended was a 10% down payment, and that
10%.
would be a lot. Like 10% of $750,000 is $75,000, isn't it?
It should be. Yeah, it should be 75,000.
No,
But
no, no,
if
no.
you're living in an
Wait,
apartment
is that?
and you're going,
Hang on, I gotta make sure that I'm right because I don't want to look like an idiot.
I don't do math, times
Point one
10%,
times 750,000.
that's
Yeah,
7,500.
75,000. Yeah, just had to make sure. Yeah. So what were you saying?
Yeah.
10% down payment, $75,000.
Okay, so start date would be January of 2025.
Yeah.
Include taxes and costs.
Yeah, you have to
I
pay
don't want
for
to do,
homeowners insurance.
I'm not doing homeowners associates.
Nah.
I'm not buying a house with
No.
HOA on it.
Yeah, you don't
Forget
want to.
that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare.
HOAs are a pain.
They are.
Um, what does it say?
Other costs. You know what?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna take that out and I'm just gonna
do the raw
this is
numbers.
do the raw numbers, yeah. I don't know why it's acting all funky at the moment. This website's a little iffy to some extent. So let's see if we made a so that's how much you would be paying in interest.
Yeah.
This is a lot.
58% of it is interest that you end up paying. So
That's more than
that's for a
that's more
30-year
than
loan. Change the loan to 15 years and see what that shift is. Look at that.
so if we made it
62% is
well,
principal.
that does make sense. It
Yeah.
does make sense.
So
The thing
essentially you're
is,
screwed if you get a 30-year loan. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense financially. I mean, obviously if there's no other option, that's what you have to go with, but pretty much at all costs you're going to want to do
so look
15
here,
years.
by year 20,
Hmm.
20 to 21, okay? That's when you actually start paying more towards the principal than the actual
Yeah, okay.
interest.
So basically what you're saying is the whole time you're paying toward both, but you're paying way more
Eventually,
toward interest in the first like 20 years. And then when you get to
eventually,
the last 10 years, you finally get to pay off more of the principal. So
more
you
of the
start to own
house.
more of the
Yeah.
home. Yeah.
But this is on a 6.8% interest rate.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is like say we have a market crash like they did in 2008 where they had to do all the foreclosures on homes. Basically, if it doesn't matter how much you've paid toward your house for the last like you could be 29 out of 30 years on your house on your mortgage and they can still foreclose your home if you can't pay the rest. So the amount you can decrease that time frame where you're paying money for your house, um, it really makes a big difference in both interest and risk. So that's mostly what I've learned. It's like really, 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 you don't want the 30-year loan. Um, if you can't
Okay,
afford the
what
15-year loan, that's try to figure out a way to be able to do that.
well, what other options do I have then, Logan?
Well, like I said, you can you can obviously you're going to have a fairly good income. I don't think it's going to be a problem for you. But um,
Yeah.
what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to live in an apartment. You're going to have to, or with your parents until you can afford that down payment, that strong down payment. And obviously, when you have that strong down payment, the um, the amount you're paying for the mortgage is going to go down, and the interest is also going to go down. So you should be able to afford the 15-year loan if you have a large enough down payment on the house.
Okay, so here's the $1,100 in terms of extra monthly pay. So for disposable income, essentially, and this accounts taxes as well. I don't think this is because California's property tax, I'm sure, is way higher than 1.2%. But see, with the extra payments, the loan will be paid off in 17 years and 7 months instead of,
That's with extra payments towards the principal.
that's towards the principal and not the interest. So if you're paying towards the principal, because if you have that extra $1,100, you're actually going to pay off the house faster.
Yeah.
So I think that's
If you already have a 30-year loan, um, that is a really solid way to decrease your risk. If you have extra money at the end of the month, or you just really hate that loan and you want to save, um, you can live on crumbs, and you can save the extra money and put that toward the principal, and that'll decrease the number of years that you're stuck in that loan. So yeah, that took you said it
so
took it from 30 years down to 17.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay, well then let's look at it. Okay, for 15 years, let's see.
Did you put in 15 or 10?
I put
Yeah,
in
15,
15.
15. 10%
Yeah, but
interest.
monthly pay, look at how
10% down
much you have to pay per month.
for 15 years.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. What does it
That
say?
you
Yeah,
can
but
pay off the house for the,
$107,000 in interest will be saved with the extra payment. So you still have the
that's
extra
true.
payment in there, don't you?
Hmm.
Where's that?
It's down here.
Yeah, you're not going to be. I don't think you'll end up paying $1,000 extra a month. So realistically, that'll be $4,900 a month, which is
I get.
it's a
Yeah.
lot. But if you have two incomes and you're living, frugally, you should be fine. What was the cost of the house anyway? Oh,
So,
you're not going to end up with a house like that first. Like that, I don't think.
well, in Oregon, they had some. Well,
Yeah.
this was a house that had, I believe, about 2 acres. I
Oh,
think,
that's
pretty sure
that's pretty crazy.
it was a,
Yeah.
it was a 4 bedroom, 4 bathroom house, and
Yeah.
it was a single story. It was pretty nice, and it was kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. I would say
So
like that you're
this was
you're
like
not going
the
to be
dream.
buying a $1 million house right off the bat. That's
Yeah.
unrealistic. I would say for your first house especially, it's going to stay under 500,000. That just makes sense, at least in California. Now, in the Bay Area, if we were living there, that would be a kind of a different story, and you'd have to. But they
Okay.
make
So
more money down there typically, so
for 300 years,
300 years.
loan term for 300 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
that
that
is
try
super.
changing it to $450,000 for the price of the house,
Yeah, you're
and
not
then
even
and
gonna
then
get that.
change it to a 15-year loan and see what you get.
10% down payment as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
What about
take
the
off the take
what
off the
about
extra monthly payments. You don't need that right now. We can figure that out later if you can't afford it. That's not bad. That's pretty reasonable. Because let's see, if you make obviously you're not going to be taking home $100,000 a year, but if you take $75,000 a year, um, and divide that by 12, 6,250, and that's just your income. So if you have your girlfriend and she's, you marry, um, you should be set. That's half of your income alone, and if she has a
unless she
solid
divorces
income,
me,
say what?
unless she divorces me, which I don't think she will.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean,
I'm putting
that's
on the
doable.
house.
Yeah, home talk is fun. We do a lot of it in my family.
And the houses are beautiful too. I
Yeah.
look, this one that I looked at, this was my mom had this hypothetical scenario, and I kind of did too, where eventually she was wanting to sell this house
Mm-hmm.
instead of I told her, I said, I don't think it's a good idea that you put the house under my name when you retire and everything, because I heard something online that it was gonna, I don't know, there was a huge like risk factor in doing that. I don't know what it was exactly, because if I inherit it, I think it was a inheritance fee or something like that. I don't remember what it was called. You may know it, but I saw something
Yeah.
online.
Uh. Oh, what's it called?
You know what I'm talking about though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's an
And
inheritance tax.
something like that. And I didn't want to have to pay for that. And I
Right.
told her, I think you ought to just sell the house when you're done. That's what I told her. I said, I think you should just sell the house and then find another place to live.
Yeah.
She wanted to sell the house, and she had this idea that
Cap.
my and
It's not. No, it's not capital gains. Ah, what is it? It might be. No. It might just be inheritance tax. I don't know if that's like
I
I'm
don't know,
thinking of the stock market, but
something that if I inherit the house, if it becomes under my name or something like that, because I remember my mom telling me that she would have eventually liked me to have the house and everything. I told her I don't know if that's a good idea because of that whole inheritance thing. And I told her I think you ought to just sell it. I think it'll be a lot more what it's
well,
worth
I
down
mean,
the line.
if she gave you the house, you would have to pay the taxes probably, and
I think if
it's like a
anything,
gift tax, I
sell
think.
it. I would sell it.
But you'd have to. I mean, it would be cheaper than you buying a house for
Yeah,
sure.
but if she were to sell the house, she could use that money in a nutshell to buy an, another house, I guess.
Yeah, and
It's,
obviously there are some complications there. Like if she sold the house,
yeah,
she couldn't just pocket all the money. She'd have to pay the big
no,
taxes on that as well. So
no,
she
I
would have
know.
to put it directly into a different house if she wanted to do that.
But yeah, it's a lot more complicated than that, of course.
Yeah.
But she wanted, she had this idea of doing something like that, selling the house and then using that money from said sold house
Mhm.
after taxes to make either a down payment towards a much to a bigger house or something like that. That's what she had in mind.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Only time will tell.
Yeah.
I'll find out in like 10 years, 15 years, because I'm sure by then I'll already live in my own house essentially.
Yeah.
But
Well, and if you make it far enough and you have your own house paid off, you can start saving for another house, and then you can build an empire. Huh.
what about my kids?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think giving your kids a house is really like in the cards for
No,
most people.
not not that. I mean, like, what about their college funds and everything?
Oh yeah.
That's
Well, of course. Yeah. But, you know, if you start saving for your kids for college when they're born, they're going to be fine. They're going to have plenty of money to go to a CSU or whatever. Yeah. So,
I think.
that's a solid idea. If you just put
I
in a
mean,
little bit every year, it should be fine.
I can afford tuition to go to the college that you go to. I can
Yeah.
afford it. It's expensive, but it is possible for me to afford it, given
Yeah.
that I'm a part-time job worker.
Yeah. Well, and then that, that's the other thing. Like you have steps
I'm
that you
not
can
doing
take.
student loans. I'm
Yeah.
not doing that. Nope. Mm-mm.
I know,
If
but
I can't afford
what
it,
I'm saying
forget
is
it.
you have steps that you can take. You can go to a community college, start there, get enough education, and save some money that way. And then you don't have to go directly to an Ivy League school. You could, or UC, or even you could just go to a CSU and end up paying probably quarter or half. Maybe you live at home and you go to school. It can be done
Yeah.
on the cheap. It doesn't have to be extremely expensive. And in my opinion, the higher level schools, Ivy Leagues, whatever, they obviously have smarter kids in them, but I
That
don't think
doesn't
the
mean that they're more
education is
likely.
that much better.
No. And it doesn't mean that they're more likely to get jobs because, of course,
Yeah, most people don't. Most job hirers don't care
they
about the
demand
school.
they demand experience and everything
Yeah,
too.
experience is the biggest thing.
I think for what it is that I'm doing at least, because with this company that I'm doing, they're nationwide, so I can move to a state and I could basically get I could essentially get hired because I would be certified.
Yeah.
And so,
Is that with Steel or is that with somebody else?
no, Steel, oh gosh, Steel pays poorly for their technicians. I think their income earnings is like 30 or 50,000 a year or something like that.
Mm.
It's not livable.
Yeah.
What I was gonna do was I was gonna go to that school that I mentioned to you about, and then they do a much more broad, I guess you could say, um, in terms of for trade, I guess. Like they teach you air conditioning, refrigeration, air con or not air conditioning, solar, heating, that type of stuff. And they do a little bit of plumbing.
Yeah.
But this was kind of one of the biggest like turnoffs for me, I guess you could say. It didn't have it doesn't certify you as a plumber or anything. You don't get like a certification like you're a certified plumber,
Yeah.
essentially.
Well,
So
I
that
know a
was
lot
kind
of
of
I know a lot of people like the handyman that we often hire is not. I don't think he's certified in anything. I mean, I think he has a college degree, maybe in business. But other than that, I don't think he has any official certification, and he is busy 100% of the time. So I
well,
think it's possible to get like if you're educated in you know whatever you're going to pursue, um, you can do it pretty well, and you can get hired for sure, especially in our area. Since I talked about there being a shortage of tradesmen.
yeah, there's I mean for the school tour that I did for that technical school, they told me it she told me they get like almost they're asked by like 300 plus companies for asking for their graduates and everything. So you're basically guaranteed a job right off the bat. And that's nice, but I think what I'm going to do, I may pivot a little bit and I'm going to apply in June for this trainee company, of course, that they have. And I'll tell you after the podcast because I don't want to say it out loud,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not local. They're nationwide, of course. I guess I could say it. Do you think? I don't know.
I would. If you think it's not good to say, then I would keep it until the end.
Well, yeah, but it's basically you can apply for their trainee position. They require, it says, and I called them. I asked them, I said, I said, I'm looking on your website here. I want to apply for your trainee position because you're accepting applicants, but I don't see anything. Where do I go? And she said, oh, just go to indeed.com. And I
Mm.
said, okay, do you guys actually require that? Like a minimum of 3 years work experience? And she said, that's just a best case scenario, essentially. But for the position that you would be applying for, it would make sense that you don't need any experience at all because they would teach you. Now, part of your wage goes to paying off for the schooling and everything, so that way you can eventually be a certified plumber. And then once you're a plumber, if you really wanted to, which I definitely will because I'm that crazy, you can go all the way up to a master's plumber or even higher than that. And you're basically the income is insane. It's 150 to 400,000. It's
Wow.
crazy. In California alone,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And it's a salary too. But I mean, that's what I have in mind. I don't see any issue with not going to college or anything
Mm-hmm.
because truth be told, I really don't want to do a student loan and I don't want to be in debt for that type of stuff. I would rather be in debt elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the only thing that I want to be in debt in is for that 15 or 30-year mortgage, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Definitely. Well, that's smart. It the one of the smartest things you can do in the beginning of your life is save and and avoid loans at all costs. So that gives you off to a rock solid start, and after that it doesn't really matter. You stay
I
out of that, and you get a decent job with a decent income. Like you don't have to be earning 100K to get by. You could make 60,000 and be just fine.
well,
So
I think starting was 55 or something for this
Yeah.
company, around that margin, but
Yeah.
they do pay well, and it does it, it it is basically an apprenticeship essentially, but it will lead into a full-time job because they are expecting you to apply for that position, and lo and behold, you're going to get hired
Yeah.
because everybody needs a good plumber. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah. I think. I mean, especially if you open up your own company, which honestly, that's a difficult thing to do.
it is.
You can be making a lot of money though.
Oh, you could have your own app. Well, the thing is with this company, you are actually, if you climb the ranks and everything, they joke about it on their website too. They're aware of it.
Hmm.
They think it they they're what's it called? Sarcastic about it. I could show you after the podcast and everything because I think it's funny. Um, but they're like fully aware of all the, what is it? Oh, are you tired of the whole college experience being in student loan and
Oh
everything
yeah.
like that? No, they do it, and it's funny. It's
Well,
actually funny.
the thing
And
about it is like that's just how guys kind of are, right? Guys nowadays, you're seeing fewer and fewer go to college, more and more go into trades and other things. Um, so yeah, I mean, it just appeals to the dudes out there.
well, it's just,
It's
well, as
I
you
gotta
know,
say, it is hard to make it through college as a guy right now. Um, a lot
you
of
can't
the a, lo-
find anyone.
right.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to bring that up. I'm
Well,
sorry,
yeah,
but
it's hard to
that's me.
find a partner in college. I mean, even though like at the college I go to, 2/3 of the students are female, and none of them are really interesting to me. That's just how it is because I don't know whether it's a lot of it's beliefs, a lot of it's appearance, but the fundamental thing is beliefs. Like I'm willing to take obviously somebody that is not a princess, not exactly beautiful and everything. Like obviously I'm aiming for someone that's I don't know as attractive as me, I guess, but I don't think I'm that attractive. So um uh I don't know. But what was I saying before we were talking about that? I don't remember.
We were talking about how most guys nowadays, they aren't going to college or
Oh yeah,
anything, and they're mostly going into trades
yeah.
because it's just, at least on paper, look, you could argue guys are just a lot more simple in terms of their thought processing and
Interested in things more than
than people.
people. Yeah.
But I mean, just because they're simple-minded doesn't mean that they're smart either. They are, if anything, I would argue that guys are a lot more stupid than girls. I actually think that because I'm a
Maybe
guy
not
and I've
not in terms of IQ. I mean, I guess the averages are the same, but you have a lot more dumb guys than dumb girls.
basically, yeah, pretty much.
But you also have a lot more really smart guys than really smart girls. That's just how the distributions work for IQ.
It is, yeah.
But
I do understand the benefits of IQ. I do get that. I understand that. I don't know what my IQ is. I'd
yeah,
rather not know, to be honest, but
I want to know.
because I,
I want to know so I can see like what
yeah, but
I match
I
up to best, right? Because I don't want to aim too high or too low. I want to aim for what field matches my level of intelligence.
I think to some extent when it comes into IQ, when you, with that level, I guess you could say, of argument that you're making, I do think to some extent that it aligns with like social Darwinism.
I mean, obviously, so basically what I'm saying is I
Because
think
of
people should
your I
be
okay, if you have a IQ of 75,
yeah.
you are basically, the only thing that you are capable of doing for the rest of your life is organizing papers and filing stuff, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And printing stuff out
Maybe
somewhere
mopping the
along
floor.
the, so, well,
It's
don't,
difficult.
hey,
It's difficult
don't
for people
disrespect
that
don't disrespect the janitors now. Look, they've been saving graces,
yeah.
but
Well, obviously there's a need for people that can do work like that.
and look, I'm not one to say it's never perfect because there are doctors and other people out there that who ought to be smarter than what they look because there are stupid people.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Well, I
I
think
do
one of the
think to
things
some
you could do
extent,
with IQ is test everybody, and recommend jobs based on that, but obviously not hold people to those jobs. You want people to be able to choose what they want to do. And obviously if you're not smart enough for a position, but you have something like you have really good work ethic, people like that can attain and achieve more than they're like supposed to be capable of IQ wise. I'm not
well,
going to be a mathematician. That's not in the cards for me because I'm not smart enough to do that. You have like the mathematicians on college campuses are the smartest people there. That's that's it hands down. Like um, I I don't know. They're just the capability to do complex computations is part of what IQ is. So obviously you want people with higher IQ doing that sort of thing, and you want to guide people with high IQ to jobs like that. Um, and then
I suppose.
if somebody has lower IQ, um, then maybe you guide them to a job that fits their capabilities best.
Well, does that mean that okay, because math is something that I am not good at. Does that mean that I have a low IQ?
Not necessarily. They're correlated more than anything. It's not a direct causal relationship. Like I was really bad with math in high school. Like I know you say I was good at it, but I was
Yeah,
actually like I didn't know how to do algebra at all.
you got A's and B's for days. I don't
Yeah.
know what you're on about. I got D's and F's.
Well,
I don't know
I
what.
got A's and B's because I kept up with the work more than anything. Like I didn't know how to do the work properly. I just
Yeah, but
kept up
see,
with it.
that's the thing. I didn't keep up with the work. That was my mistake.
Yeah. Well, so
So,
that's a tip to anybody that's going through school right now. If you keep up with the work and you don't know how to do it, but you still keep up with the work, chances are you're going to do pretty good. Cuz that's the like um that's the work ethic part of you keeping at it, right? That's important.
yeah.
More important than you actually understanding the material, I would say in terms of academic success through high school. Now, once you get into college, obviously you want to understand the material because you're going to have to you're going to go into a career that has to do with that material you're learning. So if you're not understanding the material in college, you need to either seek help or um, consider a different field, right? Because you don't want to get into a job and go and they ask you a math question that you're supposed to know how to do and you just don't know how to do it. That wouldn't be good. I mean, of course, there's like you could
Well,
look it up
every
or
job,
something, but
I don't think people, I guess, yeah.
yeah. Well,
I think that's why I'm just doing the trade stuff. It's not because I don't think it's the easy route. Because
no,
I remember, is it Jordan Peterson said, "Oh, if you're changing your career path or your
yeah,
interest in your major, you need to pick something as equally difficult." And that's stuck with me, I guess you could say.
yeah,
And I think for what I'm doing at least, I think it is equally as difficult as doing what my original major was. I would have liked to have been either a clinical psychologist. That's what I would have liked.
yeah,
But I think chasing this pathway, which involves real world hard life experience, seems to me at least it's a lot more rewarding and I'm getting the most out of it instead of going to school.
mhm,
That's just me. And I think that's why I'm pivoting from going to college towards trade.
yeah,
And not that, yeah, of course, it's going to be difficult at the start, but the more I work at it, the easier it's going to get over time. And then I'm going to still want that challenge because eventually you're going to hit a plateau. And then you're going to say, okay, what do I do from this point on? Do I try to go for a position that I think is too difficult for me to handle? Or should I just stay where I'm at and basically not try to what's the best way of putting it? Oh my gosh, what's it called? Uh, complacent.
Mm,
That's what it is. Be complacent.
yeah,
I don't know. Uh,
yeah. I would say one of the biggest determining factors for career path is personality type. Um,
that whole Briggs, that Myers-Briggs stuff is nonsense. I'm
yeah,
sorry. It's stupid. No, it doesn't do anything. I'm
yeah,
sorry. It was a good indication at first, but no, it changes over time.
yeah.
Because I used to be, what was it? I remember I had a personality. It was called the Advocate, and now my personality type is a logistician. So it changed. It changed over time because of my work experience, and I'm less, I guess, compassionate towards people to some extent. So I'm more likely to be brutally honest with people instead of trying to put on this sorry tone, I guess, if you will.
Yeah,
So I think, what is it? The Big Five is a lot more accurate, I would say.
yeah. Well,
That's what I think.
your personality obviously determines what you're interested in and what you're willing to put up with, right? So, for instance, your personality is not one that really enjoys dealing with customers.
Oh, and this website joked about, are you tired of dealing with customer
Yeah,
service?
hundred
It's
percent.
that. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, oh, it's for me. It's for
Well,
me.
and you know that's kind of something I would like to try someday. I know how hard it is to deal with people, with customers, from what you've told me and from just stories. I've always kind of wanted to try like the phone calls with people. You know how you help people with like their technology or whatever. That is extremely hard, and I want to know if I have the guts to put up with it.
Well, it's a
See if I get frustrated.
communication. It's a communication thing as well.
Yes. And
That's
the
another
thing is,
thing.
some people are better at it than others. Some people are like they are really good at working with people. Um, some people are as happy as can be in retail. Like I've seen that before. And they like a customer will come to them and they'll be kind of difficult and they won't have any trouble whatsoever dealing with that customer. It doesn't get them upset. It doesn't it doesn't phase them at all. And they're really good at keeping calm and communicating. And that's just something some people are good at. So that sort of thing is what helps you um, determine what career path you ought to be on. So if you're deciding right now what do you want to do next with your life, look at the core parts of your personality and try things out, and then determine how you react to those different things. So, like, I assume your job that you're in has helped you determine what you want to do with the rest of your
Oh,
life.
it has. Well, I will say this. It was supposed to originally, and my bosses knew this, of course. Um, it was originally just supposed to help pay for tuition,
Yeah,
and then it eventually spawned from one thing to the next, and then okay, I'm at this point now where okay, apparently I found out I'm interested in something that I never thought I would. Okay, what can I do with this exactly? Should I see if I could go for either being a small engines mechanic or a car mechanic or something like similar to that? Or could I look elsewhere and see if there is anything else that I'm interested in?
yeah,
And plumbing was pretty much one of the first things that came to my mind. And I was thinking, okay, I should try this. And well, I haven't tried it, of course, but I went
yeah.
online, I
That's part
looked
of
at
it, though,
stuff,
is trying it.
and I thought, yeah, I think this is something that I would like to do. I'm pretty sure because I enjoy this line of work. And for this technical school that I went to, the tour was nice. Granted, I was the only one there, but I mean, I guess I have nothing better to do with myself. But um, she asked me why I was interested in going to this school, and I said, well, I'm currently a part-time employee, and I do a little bit of engine repair here and there, and I found out I just enjoy getting my hands dirty, and I like doing a lot of stuff with my hands. It's just for some reason I like to take stuff apart, put new stuff in. I like managing the inner workings of something.
Mm-hmm.
And this school had it, of course, and it favored that more than anything else. And I thought, yeah, I'll just keep this in mind. I told her, I said, I'm not set on it, but I am interested. I'll keep it in mind. There are other places that I'm looking at. I just want to see how they compare. But I do think that for this corporation slash company, I guess, they captivate my interest the most. And it's just solely focused on plumbing, which I think is kind of funny. But I mean,
Yeah.
there are just companies like that, of course, that some, like you said, electricians, there are HVACs, good tradesmen,
Yeah.
good trades, really good trades. So
Well, I
I'm
think the first jobs, like the $15 an hour minimum wage jobs or whatever, that you take when you're in college or when you're in high school, I think those are invaluable. Like if you are thinking about going into college, try to make room for a part-time job, because what it does is it teaches you about the real world. It teaches you how you interact with other people, and it teaches you all sorts of things about what you like and what you don't like to do. Um, like I've learned a lot in my job. Obviously, I do sprinklers, I do all sorts of things, and I can put up with it, but it's not my favorite thing to do.
no,
Obviously, and I don't, I was weeding the other day and just doing 7 hours of weeding this week, and it's a pain. It's tiring, but you're gonna have monotonous work like that in a real job. So there'll be highs and lows, exciting parts where you get to do what you really like to do, and bits where it's kind of just monotonous. You're getting through it, whatever. You have to know whether you're going to be able to put up with stuff like that in a real job. And I'm fine. I can weed for 7 hours and not not bat an eye. So you kind of you learn these things when you're in your first job. You learn all about your personality, how you interact with customers, how you interact with just people around, and bosses, coworkers, all sorts of things.
well,
So,
speaking of, I was doing something monotonous today, so for the 9,000th time, I have to reorganize all of the belts on the walls.
uh,
For some reason, I don't know how it happens, but whenever I'm gone, everything just falls apart.
mm,
And you can't really see it, but that's
ooh,
me organizing all the belts on the walls again. It
mm-hmm,
was a mess. I should have took a before and after photo. It
mm-hmm,
wasn't pretty. It wasn't fun. I mean, I'm still doing it. So when I go into work tomorrow, I'm gonna have to at least I gotta get it done tomorrow. I'm
mm-hmm.
gonna have to.
Yeah,
And I am not looking forward to it, but
yeah,
I to do it regardless. And well, the thing is, nobody asked me to do it, but
yeah.
I'm gonna have to do it regardless because it's a mess.
It's got to
And
be
that's
organized so that people can find
I'm
what
like,
they need.
this is another thing too. Look, my coworkers, they hate to admit it, they are the messiest people known to man, and I shiver and queer exactly what their house looks like.
I'm gonna tear apart my brother right now. That is all his. This is all his. Um, those are his blankets down there. And yeah, we're kind of
Well,
the opposite person. Some people are just like
I'm
that.
I'm no better. I'm not. This is a mess to me. All this right here, and even my mom, she thinks this is a mess too. I think it is, but uh, I
But you learn
I
that
can.
stuff about yourself, right? So you're learning that you're an organized person. You like to keep things neat and tidy. You're learning that you can do with some monotonous work. Not every second has to be new. So, like if you learn that you hate doing stuff that's monotonous, you just can't do it. Try to find a job or some field that keeps things fresh. and that'll match your personality, and you won't be unhappy in your work. Now, not every job you take is going to be 100% perfect, um, and not every job you take you're going to love, and that's just to be expected. But you will learn something from every job you take. Um, I would
Yeah,
say it's like, I mean, I would say you can't expect to be happy in every job, right?
no.
You can't expect the first job to be perfect. So you're gonna have to shop around. Um,
I
and
think the second job is going to be perfect, though.
yeah,
I think it is. I
you
honestly
do.
think it is. Because there was a guy, he was also, it says it on the website too. He mentioned on his biography, he was a trainee as well. And he's been at the company for over 15 years now at this point.
Wow, that's
I don't
crazy.
think that was I don't think that was his first job, but I think he talked about he was going to college, he hated it, and he was working some type of part-time job, and he just backed out and applied, and he said, "Yep, this is for me. I love it, and I have no complaints." So,
Yeah, there's that thing that says "f around and find out," and it's the chart.
well, I've been doing that, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's exactly what we're talking about.
I'm at a level of 7, so I had to screw around in order to find out.
Yeah,
And the help of my mom, she actually, it was because of her. She helped me find this company because she called them to clean out the pipes and everything. So, I mean, I'm glad that my mom was there because I felt a little doom and gloom because although I do like HVAC, I think what they have to offer is good, but I was mostly interested in the plumbing.
hmm yeah. Well, and if you decide you don't like plumbing, which is a possibility, uh, just try
I
something
may
else.
do I may do the electrician stuff as well because well, linemen they make a lot of money too. They well, and it's not just about the money. I don't really focus on the money all that much because I think if you're chasing a salary, and it's good to have a good salary, I do think that because it will benefit you.
Yeah,
I do think, however, if you're just only applying just for the money, I think
there's a high likelihood that you won't be happy in that position.
you are going to degrade yourself,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Money isn't everything. You're gonna want something that you somewhat enjoy doing, or at least something that you can tolerate. Because I mean, a lot of the time you're gonna end up in a job that you don't like, and really a lot of the time what you have to do is stick it through. And especially if you're in a poor financial situation and you have to keep paying the bills, it's important that you sort of that you weigh your options, right? You obviously you could move on, you could try to find a new job, or you can keep going, or you could do both. Like you could keep going in your job that you don't really like, and you can be searching and searching and searching for other jobs, other positions that might do better for you.
well,
So
my bosses they were asking me. She mentioned to me that she was curious about. Oh my gosh, how many synonyms can I think of? She asked me what my plan was for this year because she knew that I was done with my semester
yeah,
and she didn't know if I was leaving to go to trade or anything. And I mentioned to her, oh, that was going to be in the far future in like 2026.
far future.
Well,
that's
yeah,
that's not
I'd
that
say
far.
far future. It's not that far. No, it's not.
But
But
yeah,
I told her if it's okay, I would like to stick around for a little bit. That's what I told her, and she seemed accepting of that. And I also brought up to her that your husband asked me if I would be interested in working full time, and I said, yeah, I would like to do that. I don't know if that's still in the books for you guys, but I'm still interested in that type of position.
hmm
She told me that she was going to get back to me on it for the next year. I'm sure probably I may hear something from her maybe around next week or so in regards to it.
Yeah.
maybe even tomorrow. I don't know, but I'm hoping at least that she would consider me for a full-time position because look, I make 16.75 an hour. I got
Oh,
a
are you
25.
making that much now? I just
Well,
got a raise to 16.50 from the minimum wage.
the thing is, I wasn't even notified. I had to look at my pay stub to see it, and I got a 25-cent raise. Thing
Nice.
is, yeah, I think what is it? The minimum wage now in California is
16.50.
16.50.
Yeah, I thought
It's
it
now
was 16.50, but it just got raised this year.
my mom, what was it? She got, well, not mad, or, well, she did get mad. She was upset that because she knows exactly what type of job that I do and what other type of, I guess you could say, dedicated roles there should be at that workplace because I do retail, I do customer service, I also handle phone calls, I manage sales orders, I do um
You
I
should put
put
that on
together
your resume.
oh well I'm gonna put
All of those
all that
things.
stuff. I'm putting
Yeah.
all that stuff on my resume. I'm
Yeah.
going to.
And that's, you know
Well,
what? That's another benefit of the 16.50 an hour job.
my mom told me put everything on your
Yeah.
resume. Put everything that you do on your
You're
resume
building
because
skills and you deserve to put them on your resume.
it shows to them that you have a lot under your belt.
Yep.
So I would like to get forklift certified just to have
Ooh,
it.
yeah.
I, I'm
Every
I'm
every every guy wants forklift certification. That's just how
I'm
it
gonna
is.
do it. I'm gonna do it.
I want
Um,
it too. I do. I don't need it, but I want it, and I never use it, but I want it.
well, it's just that you go to apply. Wait, you're forklift certified? Yeah. Uh-huh. I
Yeah,
am. I
I'm
know. I know a
forklift
thing.
certified.
I'm a thing or two. I know a thing or two.
Yeah.
But I mean, any of that listed is should just be an indication that okay, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's got a lot of experience given the short time frame. The reason why I wanted to leave in June, and I hope nobody finds out about this on the podcast, but if my boss finds out, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. But my girlfriend, she was planning on leaving soon. She was gonna leave the nursery soon. And I mean, I'm gonna be a little sad about it, of course, because she's not gonna be there, but I mean, hey, she's been there now for over 3 years at this point. I
Wow.
think she's kind of sick of it. She wants to move on. She wants to apply for to Kaiser. They have a nutrition role at Kaiser, like a nutrition assistant, so you can just deliver like food trays to people and everything. It's nice, apparently. It's like $30 an hour. It's crazy. And you just need a high school diploma and, of course, work experience.
Mm-hmm.
And well, for this position that I'm applying, they require for the trainee position 3 years experience. That's why I called the lady on from the company and I said, "Hey, do you actually require this?" And they said, "Oh, it's just a recommendation. We just normally that's just
You said you called
the
her?
bare well, called her as in I called the company
Yeah.
and I said, I I see that you guys offer the positions, but you don't list where to apply. Where can I apply?" And they treat it like you're applying for a job.
Yeah.
So I think that's great because it means that oh they're treating you like you're an adult and you're applying for a job.
Right. Well, you know what? I love that you called them. That is something that you don't see, especially in our generation. We don't like calling people.
I was terrified.
Yeah,
I
I
was
mean, but the fact that you called them shows that you're proactive enough to
it
make that move.
well, I asked my mom, I said, should I call them? And
Yeah,
she said, yeah, their
100%.
hours are open. Go on ahead.
Yeah.
And well, here's the thing. I asked my mom this a while back. I said, why is it that I'm okay with calling customers over the phone, but I'm terrified of calling like these big company? Well, I'm not terrified of calling the big companies because I've called Steel and Echo before plenty of times to
Yeah.
talk about orders and all that stuff. It's not bad. It's real simple work. You just read out the number and you just say, "Hey, I need a credit, I need a reship, and what can you do?" Simple stuff. And I've talked to so many people, especially in upper management, in regards to that stuff, and they got it handled and sorted out. And it's honestly a big compliment to me when I hear from my bosses. They're like, the way that you talk to them on the phone, I don't know how you do it, but they somehow work. They comply to your requests and everything. And whenever we call, we always run into issues. So whatever you're doing, it works. And because they've heard me talk to them on the phone before, and they said, "Oh, we like the way you talk to them over the phone. You're like you transform into a completely different person." And you're professional about it, and you just are completely composed, and you somehow just convince them to actually for the request that we have. I don't know how I do it, but it's something, I guess it's a really bad
That's a
talent that
good
I have.
skill.
Well, it's I don't like it. I don't like on how that's one of my good skill. Well, it is a good skill, but what I mean is I don't like doing it. I do not like doing it. And I asked my mom, I said, "Why is it that I'm able to flawlessly do that, but I'm so terrified of calling a company that another unknown company or something and ask him about
Well,
a
it's because your
position?"
future's on the line, or at
That's what
least
my mom
your
told
perception
me.
is.
She said, "Your future's on the line. That's
Yeah,
why you're terrified, because
yeah.
you don't want to get
Literally
denied."
on the line, on the line.
I
Yeah,
know, pun intended.
yeah.
But
That's funny.
I mean, I understand. I guess you could say a lot of kids our generation don't really do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had really bad over the phone experiences with customers because I'm third in line, I guess, on the phone, and I'm trying to help a guy out, and then he just starts cussing me out, and I think to myself, okay, what happened? What did the other two people tell you? What can I do? I asked the guy, I said, "What can I get you? Tell me, just what can I get you, and I'll see if I have it." And he said, "I've been on the phone for already 8 minutes already. You're wasting my time. Frick you." I'm going, and I'm thinking, okay, dude, you're just not even actually letting me help you.
Yeah.
You're just wasting my time. Congratulations. But
Always fun.
I mean, I don't know how I do it. I guess it's because I'm terrified of I don't know. I don't know how I do it. I can't for the life of me. I don't know how. But I mean, especially for the people up at the front of the store, they are awful when it comes to communication. They just are. They suck at counting money. They are 25, 50, 75 a dollar. They can't. No, I'm serious. They actually can't do that stuff. It boggles the mind. And it it makes me wonder how someone who has worked there for more than 3 times gets fired and rehired, fired and rehired, fired and rehired.
Yeah.
That's happening right now because there is a coworker that has, I don't know, I have no idea, but I it my girlfriend isn't happy about it. A lot of the coworkers aren't happy about it. But the thing is, I mean, it's a nursery, and a lot of they were doing this today, and it was kind of making me mad because I was thinking, okay, you guys could seriously do something better, because what I'm doing is I'm cleaning the back of the shop and everything because it needs to, because I haven't had the time, because I'm too busy dealing with your stuff up at the front, and I'm having to constantly go up and start a blower for the 5,000th time when you guys could easily do that. But then I think to myself, you know what? It's probably best that you don't start it, because you guys are terrible at counting money, let alone you guys are not capable of distinguishing gas from mixed gas, and you could easily blow up an engine. So it's probably better that you actually don't do anything at all, let alone screw up the serial numbers for the 7,000th time. But anyways, I digress. But I don't know how I went from phone call to
It's
this,
hard being
but
the most perfect employee of a company, isn't it?
well, it's not even I'm not even trying to stroke my own ego. I think if anything, I am probably one of the lower ends for this place. But at the same time, I also think, okay, they are putting trust in me to learn and understand how to do loan applications. That's hard. For me at least,
Put
that's
that on the
hard because
resume.
you
One more
gotta
thing.
under you need to understand every single little detail. How much money they're making per month. What is their rent? What is their credit score? Are they making any car payments, or do they have any disposable income?
Yeah.
That type of stuff. It's a lot. and you have to get their ID correct, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
And you have to take that information, attach it to a sales order, of course. You need to figure out whether or not what their interest rate is going to be. You have to tell them what the interest rate is. You got to wait a call. You got to wait for a call from that company in order to, I don't know, see what the options are, what their interest rate options are. It could be, I don't know, 10% to 15%. It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's many factors, and I wonder, I begin to question myself. How did I go from a person who was just managing bags at the start? I went from taking out bags to cars to this. I wonder, and I think part
Would
of
you
it
rather
was
keep taking out bags?
no. I think it was because I just asked around and I said, "Oh, what's that?" or something like that. I was interested, and my, I guess one of my bosses took the liberty of tr trusting me to or test the waters to see if I was good at managing inventory. I think to some extent I am good at managing inventory. I do think that. Look, I got the back of the shop all under control now at this point. Almost every
Sweet.
tiny little thing, it's almost under control. Almost
Inventory
everything.
management. Add it to the list.
I know I'm going to. There's there's a lot of what is it? There was stuff that was in the wrong location. There were parts that were missing, and just it was a mess. I could show you the photos if you're interested, but it was it wasn't fun. I
Yeah.
will say that. Going through that, there's like 8 or 9 different sections back there, and I'm only one person, and that required like 2 or 3 people. Granted, I will say that whole operation was basically under my vision of what it should be because I wanted to make it future proof. And I mean, I think it was like a couple weeks ago or so, I want to say, the coworker that got fired multiple times and rehired, she went back there and she started ruffling around and putting stuff away. And I was thinking to myself, great, you're ruining my work. Good job. Way to go. And she just put stuff wherever she wanted to put it. And
Mm-hmm.
if there was too much, like if there was too many of the same item, like let's say for example air filters, she would just let it spill over into the other boxes, into the other little totes or crates. And it's frustrating because you think to yourself, okay, I worked really hard on this, and now you're just completely taking a dump all over it instead of actually, I don't know, put it in a box and put it on the top of the shelf. And when you run out, just take it out and put it back in the crate. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
But oh, no, I'm just gonna shove it in there and hope for the best. And if other items get lost, oh, that's fine. No, let's do that. Forget it. And it was just, to me, it was just frustrating to deal with.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get it. Inventory management, it's necessary, and it is a big money maker for the business. It is. But I think to myself, for how long? Because when I leave, I wonder exactly, is it ever going to go back to how the shop
Yeah.
was? Like, I honestly think it will because of their work habit. They are the, I'm just going to say it, and my bosses are aware of it too. They are the worst when it comes to keeping stuff in line and managing inventory. They cannot, for the life of me. It's not that hard. And all you have to do when you are searching for a part, just pull out the tote, take the item out, put the tote back in. What do? They pull it out, ruffle through it. If they can't find it, they pull out the other one, ruffle through it, and throw the items in the other totes and shove it back. And it's frustrating because and I tell them, I said, guys, if it's not there, it's not there. I've organized it. Everything is where it's supposed to be. You and I both know this. I spent 2 months alone, part time, managing all of that to get it under control. And you just doing that only makes it to go back to how it was before. And that is not pleasant and it's not fun.
Yeah.
But I'm done ranting.
Well, my week was great. Thank you for that. No, I'm just kidding.
Uh,
We that was
yeah, we're 10 minutes into the podcast.
yeah, 10 minutes into the podcast already. Yeah, I completely sympathize with that, and it's like, but that's the point of a first job. It's to get that under wraps. You also get, we talked about all the things putting on your resume. That's one of the big benefits. You can put all the things you learned on your resume. So, always nice thing to be able to do. Work
Well, it is
experience
not.
is just it's one of the most valuable things. You can have all the education in the world but have no work experience, and not get hired because
Well,
that's what they're looking for.
well, what was it? In regards to that wage thing from earlier, my mom, she was mad at the fact that she said you are someone who, when you first started out at 15.50, that was the California minimum wage back in 2023. She said you are someone who actually worked their duff off to get to where you are now, making 16.75 an hour. That's a big increase in terms of wage, I would say.
Yeah,
That's a lot from 15.50 to 16.75. That's a
yeah,
pretty big increase. To me, at least, that's a big increase. It's not rewarding knowing the fact that every single year it's going to go up by 50 cents. So
yeah,
I think to myself, to me at least, I don't really care about the wage. I don't. And the only thing that I care about is, okay, as long as I'm getting experience, I think that's a lot more valuable than the wage. As long as I'm making a little bit of money, that's fine by me. What I'm after right now, at least from now until June, is if it also makes me think to myself, do I really want to start working full time? Because the second I know that June hits, I'm going to apply for that company and I'm probably going to get hired. At least I would like to think that I would get hired because I would already have 2 years under my belt at the company, at the current job that I'm at. So I wonder, is it really worth working full time?
yeah. I mean, I would say like if they end up
Probably not.
allowing you to work full time, you should take it, and then obviously you'll keep working full time, and when the time comes to apply to the next job, you apply, and then if that doesn't pan out, you're still working full time, right?
I
And
the,
if
I'd have to give a 2 weeks notice, of course,
yeah,
obviously.
right. But if the full working full time doesn't pan out, like they don't grant you that, that's fine too. You can maybe you can work another part time job. I don't know. Or
That's what my girlfriend told me. She said, "Look, if it's not fulfilling for you anymore, just apply elsewhere. It's fine, Nelson. You don't have to work there. You can leave." My mom, however, sorry, I know I cut you off. She told me, she said that you need to, it looks better on the resume if you have a couple years of
yeah,
experience. It
yeah,
looks better
yeah,
because if you apply to multiple jobs, it's going to look like you're job hopping,
yeah.
like 1.5
And a
years of
lot of a
experience.
lot of places want somebody that is going to stay there for a while.
Yes, because well, you would hope that they value you as an employee
Yeah,
and they bring the most out of it,
yeah,
that you bring the most out of the company. And that's what my bosses do think, for me
yeah,
at least. I know I earned my wage. I do know I earned it fair and square, and they know I earned it fair and square, and they recognize that, and they told me, except for the 25-cent raise. I don't know what happened there, but that went under the radar. I never knew about that. I'm not going to bring it up with her or anything, but
yeah,
um, I just I know it's not a good idea, but I don't really hope for a lot of things, but I do hope to some extent that what I have, this mental checklist that I have in my mind, I do hope that it does actually work out to some extent. And it's not that I'm trying to take the easy way or anything. I just want to work, and that's it. I'm tired of doing the whole, and this goes back to the college stuff. I'm tired of doing the whole schoolwork nonsense and everything, only to find out after I graduate I can't find any job or anything like
yeah,
that. I know it. Look, I know for someone like you, of course, you are going to get hired, and I know for a lot of people, they will get hired after they graduate and they get their degrees. But for me, at least, I just this line of work that I do, I would rather chase that pathway because I just enjoy the idea of coming home after a long day of work, relaxing, and then rinse and repeat. That's it. That's all I think about. And then if I want to take a few days off, I can. I have that luxury. And for what this company has, at least, it seems like they're a lot more, I guess you could say, pro employee, I guess you could say, in terms of for like workers and everything. They don't really focus all that much on like revenue. So they care about their workers by the looks of it. But I mean, only time will tell. But I just have this mental checklist that if I could work full time, that would be great. If not, that's fine. I'll just keep working
Yeah.
at it and I'll see if I can get as much work as done possible because there's some stuff in that place that I think needs to get done before I leave. That's what I do think. There's some stuff that I've revolutionized, and there's some stuff that I think either needs to be reworked and at least try to get under control before I leave. And the shop guys, they were concerned and everything about before we went to this work dinner, I guess you could say, in December. They they were asking me, "You're not leaving, are you?" And I said, "No, I didn't. Who? What made you think I was leaving?" "Oh, well, you were done with the semester and everything. We thought you were gonna leave." And I said, "I'm not going anywhere unless you guys want me to." And they said, "No, no, we don't want you to leave." And I said, "Yeah, I bet you don't want me to leave
That's good.
because I'm the reason why you guys get stuff done."
Yeah. Well, I'm almost in the same position. There's I'm the first person that's been um, at least for an extended period of time on the tasks that I'm on. So they haven't had somebody that's dedicated to sprinkler work, to extra landscaping, to planting plants, etc. It's all been either volunteers or like maybe someone was there for a month. It hasn't been a regular thing. So I'm treading new water. And what we're finding out is that um, I'm not enough. I don't have enough hours. I don't have enough time anyway on my own. Like I have school that I have to worry about. So I'm not, even if I got more hours, it wouldn't 100% solve the problem. Obviously, it could make a little dent, but the campus that I'm working on is massive. It's way bigger than the higher ups understand, and really what we need is more people. We need a team to figure out how to manage this campus because it's not being managed properly, even with me on the team. Um, so I'm working with an older gentleman. He's a volunteer, and he he does not he focuses on the work more than on the planning for the future. Which to me, I mean, it makes sense based on his background, but I think what we need to do is draw up plans for my replacement first of all, because I'm not going to be there in 2 years. I'm going to be hopefully off doing a master's degree in Davis. So we'll see how that goes, but
You're gonna get into Davis?
I don't know. We'll see. I may end up going to a different UC. I'm not sure, but
Well, I remember you try. Well, don't they have a master's program at your current?
potentially. But I'm not 100% sure. Also,
I thought.
there is some like I do.
Well, if they do have a master's, I think you ought to just stay at the school and do it because doesn't that go back to our conversation from earlier that a lot of workplaces aren't going to focus on what school you went to?
Yes, but like okay, I don't think that prestige matters much in the workplace.
Davis is a
But
prestigious
to
school. I'm
me,
just
yeah, to me, just in case it does, I want to go to somewhere that's a little bit more prestigious than where I'm going. and it's only going to be
That's
for
not.
2 years, and it's not going to
Do you
be
think
that
it'll
much more
benefit
expensive.
you though?
Say what?
Do you think it would benefit you in terms of applying for a job?
Not. There's a correlation in my mind between going there and doing
Because I feel
better
like there's
job
a lot of.
placement wise, but I don't. I'm not certain that that's the case.
Okay.
I I I imagine that there's no benefit that I would gain, but I don't know. I do have money saved up for it, so it's I don't know. It's within the cards, I think, to go to a place like that at one of the UCs. So we'll
Yeah.
see. But yeah, I like
Sure want to go to like cosmetology school or something like that.
cosmetology.
Not cosmetology. What's it called? She wanted to do beauty school, was it, I believe? Something
My sister?
to your youngest sister.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we've talked to her a little bit, and I think that a business degree is going to be a big thing if she wants to do that. One of the ladies that she goes to a salon or whatever sometimes, and she's talked to the ladies there, and the one that owns the business is she went to a business school and got a degree, and that seems like a really good, like, even if she like if she decides that she's not making enough money in cosmetology, or she decides that she doesn't like it, she has a business degree to fall back on. So that's a nice thing to have as well. Like, if you have a fallback plan, that's a good thing. um
I think I think another reason why I'm doing the trade stuff is because when I was, what was it? I guess you could say I was changing majors midway through because I had interests elsewhere
yeah, I
instead of
remember, I
psychology.
think you said you were thinking about different majors and such.
I was, and then he showed me the classes, and he's like, "Okay, you're gonna have to take this, and you're gonna have to take this. Oh, you got to take this art class. Oh, because you took this art class, it actually doesn't qualify for for what
Yeah,
you're after." And I'm thinking, you know what? Forget this. I'm just gonna go do something that'll just reward me instead. I don't
yeah,
want to do it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want to make an effort to go through all that again. And
yeah,
he's like, he told me, well, here's the thing. If you take it here, it'll transfer over, but I don't know why you would want to do that because the class will be on that campus. And I'm thinking, well, I would like to save as much money possible at this campus because if I were to go to that campus, I'm going to be spending way more. And he said, yeah, but you also need to take into account that the class you took here, it only lasts for a couple of years. And in terms of, there's this like grace period, I guess, for qualifying for whatever said degree that you're going for that school. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you know what? This is ridiculous. Let me just look online and see if there is anything else that I'm interested in.
yeah.
And lo and behold, the answer was in front of me this whole time at work. And now I
And
think
it's
to
good that you
myself,
realize
yeah,
that. Yeah.
I am glad that I have been awoken by that.
Well, we've talked a few times about sort of the awakening I had. Like, I was not very far into a biology degree when I decided that I didn't want to do biology.
Well, I
Um,
remember you wanted to go to UOP, and then you find
yeah,
out tuition's like 500K a year.
yeah, and that's just not, like, if that's not in the cards, and you have to
You
be
wanted to be a pharmacist.
realistic. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Hey, no offense.
coming
There's
coming
nothing
out of
wrong.
high school, a lot of the rhetoric in high school is that the more prestigious the place you go, the better job you're going to end up with. And you just have to
Well,
realize that that's not the case.
well,
Or at least if that is the case, say again.
the counselors that were at our school, they were just constantly pushing that,
Yeah,
and they just guilt tripped you into thinking that you're not going to survive high school if you start working as a plumber
right.
or if you do if you manage electricity, all that's. And I'm thinking,
Yeah,
okay, well, why is it that when I look towards them, they're having a better time than everybody else?
yeah. Well, the biggest
I
thing
don't know.
is managing your expectations out of high school, because in high school you have to realize you are still very much a spring chicken. You are not experienced at all.
Your
When
brain
I
is
was in
not
high
fully.
school, yeah. When I was in high school, I thought I knew exactly how the world worked. I thought I knew exactly where I wanted to go, exactly what I wanted to do, and everything turned out to be wrong. And I thought I had a really good grasp of what was going on, and I just didn't. And
Well, and there are those people who do actually have a grasp of what they want to do.
sure,
There are those types of, but that's the like 0.1%
yeah.
of
And
people.
the biggest thing about high school is it's really easy, especially after all those monotonous years of work, and it's hard work in high school. It's really easy to get excited about the next phase of your life, but you have to keep your expectations managed, and you really have to be reasonable about what you end up doing. Like going to a college where I have to spend $100,000 a year on tuition, that is not realistic. And what it's going to end up doing, if I did that, I'd be tons in debt. I would be like that's just not the way to start your life. It's really bad to start your life off in a ton of debt because you're going to be essentially in slavery in the first 30 years after you start your career. So it's not something that you should be doing. You have to manage your expectations. You have to go to somewhere reasonable, especially if um, money is an issue. And really, you shouldn't be wasting money like that anyway. I go to a Cal State University, and it's not like you can tell that the students there are not as smart as some students would be at a different, like at a university, at a state university, or what do you call it, CS, no, UC,
Yeah,
University of California.
the
Like when you go to
curriculum and
UC,
education,
yeah.
it's no different than those other schools.
Yeah, well, I would argue that the education where I'm going is better because they don't do research. The professors don't do research. Their dedication is entirely to the students. At UC's, they do research, and that's their primary goal. They do research, and then on the side they teach. So teaching the students is not actually their main focus. And oftentimes, what you get is students end up teaching the class, and it doesn't. The quality is not as good. So you have to manage your idea of what your future looks like, and be realistic. And like I really wanted to go to UOP, like really badly. I thought this is where I'm going. This is the best school for this, and I'm going to be this, and I'm going to have enough money. Maybe I can get some scholarships or something. Um, and it just wasn't realistic. And I'm super happy that my parents said no on that because it just wasn't realistic. It was. I was excited. I was super overly excited, and I probably wouldn't have ended up in the career path that I'm on now. I think computer science is a much better fit for me, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm still learning a lot, really. Um, Even when you're in college, I like I definitely don't know everything. And now that I've seen that from my transition to college from high school, now that I've seen that I don't know everything, it's much easier to give myself grace when I'm wrong. Um, and also to like manage my expectations for the future. Um, I'm still learning, and I don't know everything.
Oh,
Uh oh, your
I
stream
closed
went
up
away.
my.
Now it's just me.
No. Uh-oh.
Hi, hello. I'm the only one on the screen. But yeah, come back to us, Nelson, please. Share your screen. There you go. um, oh boy, here we go. Here's the whole thing. Okay, there we go. Uh, yeah. So kind of going back, I guess, to the job that I have. I I want what I want to do is make a plan for the future of where I work, right? I want
Yeah.
them to be able to make a smooth transition from me to whoever they have next, and really, like we
What job are you looking for exactly?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know what I want to do. Obviously the master's degree, I talked about that. That's the next stage I think for me.
Yeah, what can you, out of curiosity, I'm not trying to downplay you or anything, but I'm actually curious. What are the possibilities with the degree like that, do you think?
So, you can pursue master's degrees in a lot of things with a bachelor's in computer science. Um, I am aiming for a master's in computer science. So that would be the next step, I think. Um, and with a master's degree like that, really what it does is it gives you priority over somebody that only has a bachelor's degree. When somebody sees that, when somebody hiring you sees that you have a master's degree, they know that not only did you go through all of the effort to get the bachelor's degree, you also went through that extra step to achieve the master's degree. Um, so it's like
So
you're
they
willing to
have,
put in extra effort, and really what it gives you is priority, and it also like cues you up for um, better steps. Like you have more steps that you can take up to higher positions, which is probably where I think I'd like to be. I do think I'd be better in management than I would be um, in a lower level job, like a developing job.
Mhm.
Obviously, like I've talked about my ability to develop programs, and I'm better, I would say, than a lot of people are at coding and such. But um, it is not something I really enjoy doing, and like especially like 2 semesters ago, I it was just the most tedious project ever. It
Well, I remember you telling me you were just seething
Yeah,
at it.
I
You
was
had,
yeah, it was not fun. And part of it was the method of communication and the format of the class that I didn't like. But it was painful. It was a lot of work, and I didn't really appreciate that so much. So I do think I would be better in a management position of a team. And really, that's something that's kind of hard to achieve if you just have a bachelor's degree. So really, the point of the master's degree is to cue me up for more high level positions and for you know to help me get my foot in the door more easily. Um, I've heard that over and over again that master's degrees are worth pursuing if you want to get your foot in the door. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing. Um, but yeah, I want the church to be able to select somebody and maybe like the churches are built off of volunteer work. That's just how it is. And our enrollment's
this is
down.
way. This is an Xbox SSD cover. It's not a vape. I don't vape or anything like that.
Like I have to bring that up. Oh, um, yeah, but I want to create a system for the church that allows them to create days where they can have volunteers come in because people don't know that they're supposed to volunteer. They're not going to volunteer if they're not asked to. They don't know what work needs to be done. So if we had a plan set up so that we could get volunteers to do some of the more tedious work like weeding and whatever, just have some specified days where there's somebody there like me overseeing operations that knows what's going on, that knows what needs to be done. Um, then we could get those things done, and we wouldn't have to pay some people as much. Like 7 hours spent waiting, I was paid what's 1650 times 7. Let's figure that out.
1650 times 7 hours.
Yeah, $115.50. So they paid $115.50 for somebody to weed. That's a pain. Like why? That sucks. That shouldn't be. And realistically, they don't have the funds for that.
Alone, though?
Say what?
Are you being left alone?
What do you mean by left alone?
Are they bothering you while doing that?
Bothering me? Like who?
Like, like bombarding you with work and everything while pulling weeds?
No, it's just 7 hours of pulling weeds. Just sitting there pulling weeds forever and ever.
Yeah, because let me tell you, with the current work environment that I'm in, they would tell me, we need you to pull the weeds, and then I'm
Yeah,
pulling the weeds and everything, and
yeah.
then they come after me from behind and they tell me, oh, you also need to do this too. You got to finish this up by
Yeah,
today, before the end of the day, and we need you to do this too.
yeah,
And I'm thinking, okay, well, pay me more, dude.
yeah. I mean, it's not
But
exactly like that. Like
oh, I know.
I,
But
the older gentleman that I work with, he's the one that tells me things that he thinks need to be done first. So I'll be weeding, and then he'll come by and he'll say, "Okay, I have these flowers that I want you to plant, so I'll plant the flowers, and then I'll get back to the weeding." So it like I don't know. I serve at the will of him really, and what he wants me to do, I have to stop doing what I'm doing and move on to what he wants me to do. And there's so much work that needs to be done. We really, really, really need a team of people or a plan. Um, and
plan.
somebody knows.
I got a plan. I got a plan,
Dutch
Sean.
always has a plan. Yeah, I don't know. We were going to talk
Don't
about Christmas stuff, weren't we?
we were, and now we're
Do we want to
almost two
push
hours.
that to the next one?
If we, I mean, we can.
That'd
I
be
mean,
that'd be pretty easy, I guess. We spent the whole time talking about jobs and futures and stuff. That's good.
well, we had like a whole idea of what I know. This all spawned from what
Did
was
you
it?
buy did you buy the SSD for your Xbox?
No, my girlfriend bought it for me.
Oh, is it the 2 terabyte?
Yeah, and then
Ooh.
I bought her the Xbox. Her headset was broken. Her Xbox headset was broken, so I had to buy her a new one.
Ah, that
I
sucks.
got my money back and I bought her a new one. So,
Nice. Well, I
um,
guess the moral of
wait,
today's podcast.
realized- I
What?
just realized. Oh wait, no, never mind. Hang on. She didn't have it downloaded on her Xbox, but
She does
because I
have an
bought her,
Xbox. You bought her
I
the
know
Series X.
I did. I did, and I bought her the headset. For some reason, my brain was thinking she had Marvel Rivals downloaded, so that way she could
Yeah, I was
play
about
with
to say,
us.
why did she play on Steam Deck yesterday?
Well, it was downloaded on her Steam Deck. It wasn't on her Xbox.
Okay.
She had it downloaded on her Xbox. That's why she was on the deck. But
Yeah. Well, I guess like what we talked about today kind of tied into politics. I don't want to shovel that in here cuz we're almost at 2 hours anyway. So, the moral of the story for
let's
this
shoehorn
podcast
it in.
is save if you want to ensure a
I need
bright future for yourself, save money, whether that be for your house or for college education. Make sure you're saving money. A first job is invaluable. And when you're coming out of high school, don't assume that you know how the world works. Don't assume that you know everything about what you want to do, and make sure that you're not getting your hopes up too high. You're managing your expectations. You're keeping everything realistic, and you're not going in for $100,000 a year tuition at a college because that's just not realistic. Um, yeah, I'm pretty happy with where we are. What do you have to say? Anything else that you wanna bestow upon our viewers?
Uh, I got nothing.
I got
If
nothing.
you don't, if you don't like college, do trades.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
yeah,
I remember talking about that on a previous episode a
yeah.
while back. I remember that. If you don't like college, do trades. It's worth it. It's you make money. That's where the money's made.
Of
You
course,
will
or
have
or anything else that piques your interest, right? Those aren't the only two options.
no, I know. It was just in
Oh, we're losing him. He's going. No. Okay, okay, you're
what's
back.
wrong?
You're back. You're back. You're back.
Oh, I thought I
Ooh.
lagged. Did I lag out?
You lagged for a little bit.
Oh, you were fine on my end, but
That's funny.
I don't.
Maybe it's my PC acting up again. All right. Well, let's sign off. I guess we appreciate
Yeah,
you being with us this week. Sorry I missed it last week. That
man.
was that was my bad. I yeah, I was vacationing, having a good time in the snow and such. So sorry.
Yeah, we needed a break. We were kind of tired and out of
Yeah. What
it.
is this number 14, 15? I
We need
don't
more subs.
know. Yeah, we're up to 11 now.
I know, we need more subs though. We need the subs.
We need the subs. Give
We
us the
need the
subs.
subs.
No.
Please. It's free and that's a great price.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this one. This is Logan, and
This is Nelson.
thanks so
Thank
much
you
for
for
sticking with
watching.
us. Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye bye.